So there's a tremendous revival going on here in this part of Ethiopia, in the Oromia region, the West Showa zone. And we've planted 802 churches, 125,000 people just in 42 months have come to know Christ or are being discipled in churches like the one right behind me. This is a great story of a church planter that came into this village, and he was persecuted. They tried to kill him, they shot at him, they threw fire bombs at him, and yet he persisted. And the breakthrough came as he encountered a madman, a demon-possessed man, and he prayed over this man and cast the devil out of him. And that resulted in really kind of a spiritual breakthrough for this community. People started coming to know Christ. Well, that upset the Orthodox church, the Orthodox priests who kind of controlled this particular village. And so they began to put pressure to persecute even more. But this church planter persisted, he endured, he was faithful. And God just began to give him more and more converts, to the point that they now have between 400 and 500 people in this little church. You hear the singing behind me. And this is just typical of what God is doing in all of these villages where these churches have been planted, now over 800 and growing. Interestingly, a lot of people from the Orthodox Church begin to come to this church, which of course hasn't made the Orthodox all that happy. So the federal government has actually stepped in, and they've told the Orthodox to leave them alone. They've pacified the situation here, and they've even helped the church to get land to build this church building. And so that's really solidified the foundation of this church, and it's just growing strong and going forward and really having an impact on this community. But again, we just want you to see that this is just kind of the typical response in a village. A church planter comes in, there's resistance, there's a power encounter, there's a spiritual breakthrough, and then these churches just begin to grow like crazy, and God shows up, and the light of Christ comes to these villages that were once held captive in utter darkness by the enemy. So, well, praise God for what's going on here.